you can still be human, obviously, but the business is still, you have to take decision. I had to let go 80% of the team very fast. You had to think about how to overcome that. So you cannot grieve at the beginning. It's not possible. That was the hardest, definitely the hardest. But at that moment, we didn't know. Again, I realized that in September when everything was getting a bit easier.
This podcast is sponsored by Pragmatic Solutions, the player account management platform chosen by today's smart betting and gaming operators. Don't let technical constraints delay you from achieving your business goals. Expand your business, boost your margins, and dominate the market in any leading regulated jurisdiction with our powerful, flexible, and secure iGaming platform. Enjoy its extensive marketing tools, compliance protection, real-time data, and a wide portfolio of over 1,000 industry providers. It's time to upgrade your technology. Let Pragmatic Solutions show you the modern approach. Visit pragmatic.solutions and join the smart thinkers.
This podcast is brought to you by Pragmatic Play, a leading game developer providing player favorites to the most successful brands across the industry. With an award-winning multi-product portfolio of slots, live casino, bingo, virtual sports, and more, Pragmatic Play is powering up new possibilities of play through one single API. Visit pragmaticplay.com and discover your favorite every time.
And Bingo Bango Bongo, Thomas, my old friend, great to have you on the podcast today. How are you doing?
Thanks a lot, Pierre. Thanks a lot for the time that you are recording me. I'm very fine. And you?
I'm doing fantastic here as well. Thank you. Thomas, we've obviously known each other for a very long time here. And today is a bit of a special episode, let's say, because we are talking about a mutual friend of ours, but perhaps the friend that is the closest person that you had now who passed away recently in Henri Etrillard. And the podcast today is kind of giving a bit of homage to Henri, but also talking about a really interesting, if I may say, subject, which is what happens to a business if the co-founder passes away. Something that you obviously have experienced in the last year, and how then to turn around the business and take over a business that had a founder which had his signature and a lot of documents and papers and
yes,
a lot of complexity around that. But I want to start off by just asking you, Thomas, for the audience who didn't know Henri, he was beloved by the entire, by much of the industry, but can you talk about Henri? Who was he? What was his background and his career within the industry?
Wow. So the first word that comes to me is definitely charisma, and magnetism. When Henri arrived in the room, you knew it even before seeing him. The energy was changing. He was really joyful all the time. He was really, even I will use this word, but colorful, really happy to meet people, very friendly, that I think I said already, but he was always happy to meet people. He was always available for everyone. He loved the young generation. He was giving his knowledge to everyone. He did that to me, actually, around the 17 years that I knew him. So yes, he was this person. Then obviously, he was a great professional. So his background actually is he started iGaming. He worked in the iGaming industry all his life. He left East Brittany at 17 years old to go to London. He worked in the Flipper company. I think the right name is Pinball. Then he was shortly after that, he was still very young. Actually, in early 20s, he was a blackjack dealer on the boat cruise around America. Then he was the owner. He was the owner of all the slot machine in all the bar in Paris, and he was taking care of them basically. So all his life basically. Then I think he was one of the founder of the first Casino Flash in 1998. So really at the beginning of the online casino. Then he created B2W in 2003, and it's where he moved soon after in Malta. And actually, we have a common friend, Alexander Tomic, that started thanks to Henri in DI Gaming around this time, 2003, 2004. And it's when I had the chance to start in DI Gaming in 2007 at the same time, and I was in the same office with Alex, so it's funny. And we are still very close now. So yes, basically all his life in DI Gaming. I think he sold B3W in 2016. Then he was enjoying the life, but he was bored. As Henri, he always needs to do something, obviously. And around the conversation, he heard that it was really hard for people in Africa to play online gaming because the games were very heavy, and it was a big need there to create light games. And it's when he created Baluta Games, when he managed to create his first roulette, it was 700 kilobytes, when all games are around 20, 30 megabytes. And he built very nice two roulette, actually, the normal roulette Hot 36, which is the name there, very famous on Premier Bet, this kind of casinos in Africa. And the tiny roulette as well, which is already between numbers still the same, like 600 kilobytes. So yes, he was really good in that, but he wanted to stay small. But it's when I popped up. Basically, it was during my wedding in 2019 that I asked him first time the question that I wanted maybe to work with him again and to do maybe something bigger. And at the beginning he said no, and that he was fine like that. He wanted to stay small and was really happy like that. But then he get more bored during COVID. And it's when I called him again, 2020, April actually, and we decided slowly but surely to create Lagio Gaming. So basically he spent all his life in a gaming, and until the last day he was working very hard. He was a great professional. He was a creator, mostly very creative. He loved games. Mostly it's only about games. It needs to be colorful, nice music. It was his life, basically games. Like you could go at his place at 11 p.m. He was playing games. He was checking what the competitor were doing. He was sending me, I don't know how many links per day. He was truly passionate about games. That was Henri. And iGaming in general. Then obviously he's leaving a very strong legacy in the iGaming in terms of that. I mean, he was part of the legend of the iGaming, yes, definitely. And thanks to him, I met a lot of people, basically all of them.
Brilliant, Thomas. Thank you so much for the explanation there of Henri as well. So how did you get to know Henri, and what was the story of your relationship? Because it became very deep, of course, throughout the years.
So I think I told this story 1,000 of times, and he was bored actually about this story at the end. I think he was happy for me telling it, but he was always acting like he was bored, and I was starting to tell this story. I have been very lucky actually. I can say the exact date, almost the time. It was the 22nd September 2007, where I remember this perfectly because it was my first flight to Malta. I was coming there to learn English actually. I was alone in the plane with my laptop, and he happened to be seated just behind me, and he was looking for employees at that time because he was moving B3W from Paris. He was creating a customer service in Malta, and I think a lot of people in this industry started from there actually. And he basically spoke to me at the end of the flight. We were leaving the plane, and he offered me my first job in the plane, actually. So I was not supposed to work in the gaming world at all. I was supposed to stay 6 months and to go back to the business school in France. And he offered me my first job in the plane, and I started at B3W in January 2008 with him. That's how we met, basically, and we never left. So basically, together, I mean, he was first a mentor to me, already. We worked 2 years and a half together at B3W. I stayed at the customer service. I started as an agent, then team leader, then VIP manager. I created the VIP services in his company. So it was great. I was taking care of the VIP of Alex as well, Casino Solar. And yes, that was a great moment. Yes, so that's how we met. Then I moved to BetClick for 11 years. but I was still very close to Henri. He was always present for my family. My children knows him perfectly. He was kind of a grand as well. He got a father figure, like family figure for my children. Then on top of being a mentor, yes, he had this father figure to me. And obviously became as well my best friend. I mean, Henri, it was hard to put him in a box. I mean, he was in a lot of box for a lot of people, but for me, he was in every box. I mean, the one missing was business partner, which we happened to become in 2020 when we created Lagio Services, now branded as Lagio Gaming. And the aim basically of the company was to keep doing what he was doing with Baluta Games, but on a bigger scale. So create our own platform and create our own games and to a much bigger audience. So yes, that's how we met.
Right, and it wasn't just like I said, a normal partnership, a normal business partnership, but you obviously became very close throughout the years as well. Just like Henri became close with a lot of people.
Yes, it was his way. Basically, it was his way of living, Henri. Everything was mixed. Normally some people, they have their work, they have their family, they have their friends. For Henri, everything was the same. He could not separate friends and business and it was his way of working basically. And yes, it was tough sometimes, but real pleasure. I mean, it was his way of signing contracts was a handshake and a glass of rosé wine or Jameson. It was his way. It was the old style gaming, the old style business, but he was doing it great. So yes, it was. He gave me the chance to become his business partner. Actually, I'm not sure I will be an entrepreneur now without Henri, for sure.
Yeah, brilliant. And Thomas, talk about the day. Then it was about a year ago, approximately.
What happened? Days, yes. So it was the 2nd of May, Thursday. He was happy. He was fine. Actually, I was with him on the phone for 1 hour. An hour before it happened. So he passed. So basically, he passed away at 12:30 at his home alone. Heart attack. It was fast. He left as he lived, very fast actually. But that day, he was really fine. He was traveling a lot from Paris to see his family. It was very important to him. So he was really traveling much more now because I took over the company already. I mean, like a general manager. So he was obviously always there, but took a lot of time to travel in Paris for his family. And he came back during that night at 2 a.m. actually, very late. And I remember my first message of the day was, please, Henri, take it easy today, have a rest. But it's impossible for him. So he was already on the go. He was really happy because the day before we just validated a nice fundraising for the company to bring new fund and new business partner in the company. So he was really happy. He was really motivated. So yes, basically, and randomly at 12:30, around 12:30, his heart stopped very fast like that. No. So yes, so basically that happened. I knew the news really shortly after because he had a meeting with a close friend of mine that I was on the phone with her actually just before. And she arrived at his place. He was not answering, but she could hear the water from the sink behind the door, and he was waiting for her basically. So she knew that. I mean, after a few minutes, that's something that, and she actually destroyed. She managed to break the door, and yes, it's how he has been found, and it was already too late. Yes. So I learned the news right after, basically like 15-20 minutes after. So yes, it was devastating because he was how can I say that? He was more alive than anyone else, and we had this feeling that he was immortal anyway, because he was, even if I forgot his age, he was 67 when it happened. It's not old, it's not young, but it's definitely not old to go, not old enough to go, but you forgot.
Yeah, he was the youngest 67-year-old you could think of, right? Full of life and always happy, always there, well dressed,
That is something that I forgot to say when you asked me how we want people to remember Henry. He was the classiest people in the world. He was so classy, so all the time. But yes, what I wanted to say as well is like you can put him in a room with 30 people of 25 years old. He was the youngest of them all, like all the time. I couldn't follow him. he was living his life faster than mine. Like it's. So yes, that happened. On the 2nd of May. So yes, it has been terrible. I think I received, I don't know, hundreds of calls in the next 2 days. Obviously, we traveled straight away with obviously, I cannot do this podcast without speaking about Misha, which is my other business partner. We were 3. We joined right after we created the company. A year after, we flew. He's based in Lisbon, so yeah, in Marbella. So we flew straight away to Malta to be with his family, with his life partner, with his children, and obviously his friend from Malta. So we were like really in shock. Actually, this week is still blur to me because it was really like everything was happened so fast, and you had to deal with stuff directly. I mean, there is no time, so you had to go to Malta to help the family to bring Henry back in France, where the ceremony happened in Paris, actually on the 21st of May. And yes, it was the day of the Thursday. Yes, I mean, it's not very interesting for the people, but on that day at 5 p.m., it was the theater show of my daughter at school, and I had to be there. So it's like, and I've been there, but it was like, it was so hard. The phone was ringing. Yes, completely lost, basically. It is the world.
Yeah.
The world collapsed that day for a lot of people, actually, not only for me.
No, and for it to happen out of the blue in that regard, and for someone that is a hero to so many people, that so many people look up to, and then out of the blue, this happens. And for you, there's a lot of different things that is going on at the same time. Partly the grief that you feel as, the mentor and kind of one of the closest people you have in your life passing away in this unexpected way, and at the same time the business that is going through a lot of change at the same time, and at the same time Henry's family and those who are close to him were contacting you, and it must have been a roller coaster of different outreach and different considerations at the same time as you're trying to grieve yourself, right?
It's actually, I really started to grieve much later. I realized I took really the hit, if I can say this word, in the face in September. Before that, it was a complete shock, and we had to deal with it was a tsunami of things to do, of issues to fix that we didn't have any idea that was possible. Actually, we realized that when that happened, and we will speak about it obviously because. For me, so when that happened, obviously the Thursday I didn't sleep at all, and I was like already building the plan, what we have to start with on the Friday, and obviously first calling our partners, team, and stuff like that. That was the first things to move. But then I had Misha, my business partner, on the phone at 8:30, 9 a.m. I forgot the time; it's not relevant. And I already told him, okay, we need to call our lawyer there. We need to do that. We have to plan that. Maybe we need to. I was already like, and he told me, so Thomas, you just answered the question that I wanted to ask, but it was like, what do we do? And for me, the question to keep going or not, it was not even a question. I mean, of course we keep going. It was a few days after in Malta that I realized the mountain that was up front, and it was a much bigger mountain than I thought actually, that I realized that, oh my God, it won't be easy. And it's when that I really want to mention that it's very important that at that exact moment, some people helped us like unbelievably, like it was like crazy. I won't mention the name, but his closest friends, acted like mentors to us, like really what we need to do. The first step to obviously to control the cost of the company. That was the first things, because Henri was still financing the company. It was not profitable. So every month he had to finance. So that obviously, you see, so that what you just said before, that was the most terrible part. It's like, and I said it like that, we were crying at night, and at 9 a.m. we had to be focused and take business decision, and which is cold actually. You can still be human, obviously, but the business is still, you have to take decision. I had to let go 80% of the team very fast. You had to think about how to overcome that. So you cannot grieve at the beginning. It's not possible. That was the hardest, definitely the hardest. But at that moment, we didn't know again. I realized that in September when everything was getting a bit easier. But at that moment, we have been helped so much. And that I want to mention it because, yes, I want to mention as well. It's not because he's our lawyer, but he has been a great friend, Benoît Pardigon, that have been amazing. Alex Tomic, that have been amazing as well with us. His closest friend as well, that are still mentoring us, and that are big guy in the gaming as well. Really help us, and yes, that was really complicated. Yes. And it was always like, and as Henri was compartmentalizing everything, like it was a bit like, what is my place as well with his family, like, because I knew them obviously, but we were not that. So how to react, that as well was part of the dilemma, to be present but not too present. But while Henri was everything to me, like Henri, and I have a video showing my call journal on the of my car screen, like, and I had to scroll down 25 numbers before finding another number than Henri. Like he was calling me between 7 to 10 times a day, weekend included. We were always together. Like, Thomas, I have an idea. Oh, blah, 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 blah. Oh, I forgot that. And yes. So yes, the other most complicated part was the science after that as well. Mm-hmm. It was no more calls.
Yeah. And Thomas, before we talk about kind of the impact on the business and how to deal on that front, talk a little bit more about the outreach and the outpour that you received and that you saw, and the reaction from the people close to Henri after the news came out. What was their reaction and the amount of outpour that came to Henri's way?
Wow, I will use the word tsunami again. It was like, as I said, I received hundreds of calls, like from people I even forgot they existed. His first business partner, François, called me like in the middle of the night, and everyone basically, like all the industry, and Henri was particularly someone that knew everyone and all categories of people. Like it could be like all categories of people. I was using the word chameleon, but he didn't like this word. For him, it was negative or pejorative. Not for me, not the way I was using it, but he was really in his place with everyone, and he was the best of every category actually. And so basically, still when I meet people, like last time when we met actually, Pierre, at the last time we met, it was at Lisbon, I still talk with people that start crying straight away when they speak about Henri. I was last week in Malta for New Year. I met a lot of his friends. After 30 minutes of conversation, people are still very emotional. It's still a shock even after 8 months. It's always hard to lose someone, but Henri has this particular aura. I said before that he was the most living people than anyone else. So it's still a shock for everyone. So yes, it was like beautiful, obviously, messages. You can read a bit of everything, obviously. Me, I stayed. We decided, obviously, to stay we say nothing, basically. So that's why, like, if you look at at the company LinkedIn page, not a post has been posted since it happened, actually. And actually, thanks to the podcast and to this homage that I'm finally able to give to Henri. And I wanted to start with that before we starting the business, but I'm sure it will create a lot of reaction as well, a lot of people that will react to that, because it's not only me, I'm just, okay, I was obviously, by being his business partner, the closest at the time, but it's a lot of people around, and I could name, if I start naming people, we will still be here tomorrow morning. I mean, it's, no, it was hard for everyone. It was really a shock. and from all generation of gaming, like even the youngest India gaming were shocked.
Yeah, the way I will remember Henry is the feeling of a person. In my case, I wasn't the closest person to Henrik, but I would meet him at conferences and expos, and it was the feeling of a person that you immediately get to know within the first minute, and somehow you feel that this is a person that you can trust. You can immediately see that it's a good human being. That is giving you somehow really good energy, and that you just feel happy being around. He had this magical aura around him, Henry, where you just wanted to be around him.
Yes, exactly. It's like people who are looking to be near him, were looking forward to meet him, were happy to be seen with him, and he was giving himself the same way to everyone. Basically, he was like giving everything straight away, like totally open, and he was always fine, even when he wasn't actually. But he was always fine. If you ask him the question, yes, and he wanted to help everyone that were not fine, even when himself was tired or bothered by something. You could never see it. I mean, it was yes, he was this kind of person.
Yeah, special person, that's for sure. And Thomas, so this day pass. All of a sudden you wake up to the reality that there is a business that needs to be run, that, as you point out, is not profitable and is on a very short runway. The family, you're part of the grieving process of helping the family and trying to process these thoughts yourself. Hundreds of people are reaching out to you. What were like the initial first challenges that you ran into, business-wise and otherwise?
I will mention the company bank account that has been frozen for 3 months. Thankfully, we had cash flow on it, so for the whole the automatic invoice, it was like, but we couldn't pay any invoice and being paid for like 3 months. So for a company, it's quite a problem, you know. And we noticed then very shortly all the single, what I will call the most important things, and I'm saying that to everyone, is the single point of failure that we noticed. So basically, you know, when we create, so it was a startup, obviously, we started the business and we created the company. So we are based in Bulgaria, so we created the company a bit after. So all the domain name, everything has been created with Henri's personal accounts, you know, all these kind of things. So to retrieve the access, to retrieve the bank account, it was only Henri dealing with the bank account. I was not a director yet, because we went to Bulgaria, signed the paper only one time. We had to go back, but you know what it is. You are working and going to Bulgaria just to sign papers. It's, I mean, let's go when we have time. You know, like we will enjoy 2-3 days in Bulgaria, in Sofia. Let's do that when we have some times. But we were working hard and we didn't do it, which means that only Henri was director at that moment, and so that has been very complicated. Obviously, so it's yes, the accounting part. Henri was taking part of that, and sorry, Henri, but he was not the best in all this part of the things. He was the best in games and stuff like that. But we had a lot of difficulties to find again. But all the paperwork, the administrative parts, and I was not dealing with that at all. And it was, for me, it was a different world that Henri was taking care about that. Thankfully, Misha started to take care a bit more of the numbers of the papers and stuff like that. But still, the biggest issues that we faced has been all this, has been the bank account, the administrative stuff, with all the accesses that we lost, that we had to retrieve. And yes, that has been very complicated, and it's not done yet. Actually, we are still in the process. It's not done yet. Everything is not done yet. It's very long. It's a very long process.
Yeah, can imagine. And so you already have a business that is not profitable and trying to kind of break through and so on, and then you are faced with the fact that the founder passes away, and you are not able to kind of conduct business in paying invoices and circulating money. I mean, many people would probably just let the company go under, let's say. But you decided that you were going to continue to run the company. Why did you decide to continue?
Because he trusted me, he gave me this opportunity to become an entrepreneur, and that I'm not sure I would be without him, and I would have been without him. We never know, but it is my guess. So it was for him, because we had a lot of difficulties and we were getting there. We had major partnership signed. We have games coming up, so we were getting there. So it was not like and because like you asked me about the reaction of the people around Henri. I had the choice was not mine, actually. It was like his family, his friends. They all came like, okay, Thomas, now you have to go. Thomas and Misha, obviously, guys, you have to go. You have to do it. You have no choice. And you will succeed. We believe in you. So it was all this kind of energy that we received at that moment. And as I said before, for me, it was not even a question the first days. We keep going. We have to keep going. But then it was for Misha as well, that joined just before and he invested, I mean, a year before, but as well invested with the company. And I remember obviously being with him in Malta, obviously, right after. And we were sitting down together somewhere in Slima. And I won't say the words that we exactly used, but we checked our hand and we said like brother in arms now, like now we have to keep doing together. And it is when we decided to, okay, now no matter what, we go until the end. I mean, and here we are, and we did well. And thankfully, Henri's best friends that wanted to join us decided to trust us. So Pierre and Guy.
Because you talked, sorry to interrupt, but you talked earlier about kind of the days before that yes. You had managed to confirm investment into the company. But that was still not, that was still not signed at the time of the passing, right? So that was also part of this.
And when we spoke about what happened when the founder and on top of that the majority founder unfortunately and out of the blue passed away, you cannot bring any new business partners. You cannot sell the company. You cannot do anything until all the process is done, which is not done yet. So thankfully, Guy and Pierre decided to trust us, and with Misha, we asked them last time why actually they decided to keep going with us, because they didn't know Misha. Me, I knew one of them since a few years, but we are not close because he's from Paris, and he basically told me that Henri was so much speaking about us and stuff like that, so we believed him. But still, to trust us with a nice amount of money, we won't disclose it here, it's not relevant, but they trusted us, and that was as well the things that we needed at the time to keep going, to have trust of people, and which we had. But we had to find a way, again, thanks to Benoit Pardigo, he will be happy, that find a way to bring these funds, and by waiting that everything is done, to be able then to retrieve that in shares and stuff like that. That has been very complicated. And yes, that's how we decided, basically, because we had no choice, because Henri, I put back Henri into this somehow. It is he would have never said that, but I put him back into this, and he was quiet at home, and he was happy, and he was bored. That is true. But I have been the one since staying, and he was coming to my place every 3 days, and we were speaking what we will do, how we will do it. Actually, one day he asked me a question like, Thomas, are you sure that you have what it takes to do it? And I replied, of course, Henri. Lol. I didn't have any clue of what I was doing at that time. And now I think I know a bit more. But yes, it was for all this reason, and he invested a lot of money, and he was always speaking about his children, that everything will go to them, that it's very important for him, and that's why we keep going, because we need to give back what he invested in the company to his family. I need to prove him that he was right to give me this position and to do this together. That is very important. I need to maybe to prove it to myself as well, probably. I did that for Misha, I did that for everyone, and mostly because I believe in the project, obviously, because it's not a suicide mission. I mean, we know what we are doing. Obviously, we have had a lot of obstacles that were not planned, but every company has a lot of complexity, and I read a lot. I listened to a lot of your podcast, and you had a lot as well with iGaming Next during COVID and stuff like that. And we all have. So obviously, this one has a bigger impact because it's personal and we lost someone. But yes, at the end of the day, the question has been. It was not a question for me. When it became a little bit a question, it was answered very quickly. And that's it. Then we had, as every company, if you look at the overall issues, you cannot go through the day. So what we did, basically, we just took one issue after one issue. First, let's unblock the bank accounts. Okay. Then let's receive the fund. Okay. Yeah. Then let's pay the invoices. Okay. Then let's pay our past invoices. Okay. Then let's deliver this client, and step by step, here we are. So yes, basically, yes. So,
yeah. So I mean, So I mean, these specific issues must have been really difficult to deal with. I mean, as you say, Henry was the only director in the company first and foremost. So how do you go to the bank and explain to them that you need access to these accounts when he is the sole director, for example? How do you solve these specific issues?
You need to ask our lawyers. In Bulgaria, so basically, thanks, we have been really lucky. We have signed the month before the shareholder agreement between Henri, Misha, and myself. Before that, we had nothing. So if that would have not happened, it would have been even a bigger issue. So Misha we were present on the bank account already. So me, I was, not Misha actually, but I was already because I went to the bank in 2022 to sign all the papers and stuff like that. So I was present on the bank account. And our lawyers spent, I think, it was like 14 hours in few days at the bank to manage that. So I'm not sure how we had to, and especially Bulgaria, they not use digital paper. I mean, everything needs to be signed in blue, apostille, signed in front of the notary. And I had to spend Misha at the Bulgarian embassy in Lisbon. Me, I was going at the notary in Marbella to sign, and I don't know how many papers I signed. And I won't disclose the amount as well for all these processes, but it was like, I think we had to send 25, 30 documents signed in front of the notary, apostille in the first. Every day I was there. I knew the notary by heart. At the end, I didn't have to take any appointment. I was just going there to his office. He was signing the papers, poof, go to UPS or DHL, sending the documents in Bulgaria. It was like, yes, it was that was, and we were scared. We received an email, guys, if you are not in the office in the next 7 days, we close the account for good. All these type of things. I mean, which is, it's not that, but every day it was something else like that. Every day it was something, another issue piling up, a paper missing. It was basically a nightmare. But as I said, at that time we were taking one thing after another, so it didn't feel that big at the end. It's when we went out of that and we looked back and we really realized, and it was in September, basically, when we spoke actually, Pierre, in Lisbon, that when I thought about this and when I shared with you this experience, that I really understood that we went through something unusual and big.
Yeah, and I can imagine that during these couple of months, you've done more work than a normal person would do in years, probably.
I never thought that, I think I never worked before, basically. I have the feeling that I never worked before.
You became a new person, yeah?
Yes, but you had to grow. We had to grow very fast. And still, Henri, was protecting me. He was there as the, as a father figure. So I was already managing the company, but he was always there. So, like, it's like a kid living at his parents' place, like, it's okay. I have my parents, it's okay, until they are not there anymore. And when the final decision become yours, I mean, every decision now, it was the final one. It's mine or Misha's decision. I mean, there is no one else that can take the decision for us. So that was as well something new that we had to learn. And obviously it was a lot of high level decision to make actually at that moment, that if you take the wrong decision, you're done basically. So it's, and we had a couple of decisions to take like that. And apparently we took the right one for now, but let's see.
Yeah. So today, Thomas, you have managed to turn around the business. It's profitable, it's healthy, and you managed to realize part of the dream of Henri to some extent. Yes.
So the road is still long. To be honest, we still have a lot of work to do. We are getting there. The aim is not to do like marketing for the company now. Something sure is that what we really want to do, and the most important things for Misha and myself, is to keep Henri's legacy alive and to create colorful games. Like you will see our next game that we will release at ICE actually in a few days. Then obviously it depends when anyway, that we will release in a few days. We'll have his signature, like we had Henri's Paragraph in all our games now, and we have a nice game coming out as well, Banca Francesa, in February. It is pretty famous in Portugal, with his paragraph on the nice code on the game, and we'll have that in every game, and it is what we will be doing. And we have a lot of integration going on with the big guys out there, and that we are really happy about, and that obviously I will communicate later on. But today it's more to speak about Henri, obviously, and I prefer to stay that way. Yes.
Of course. So Thomas, as a business, coming out of this now, and the learnings that you've had from taking control of the business and going through this part where a loved one disappears, and in this case passes away overnight, what advice would you have to businesses in general to think about and to protect themselves and so on from something like this drastically happening to them? What have you learned through this process?
The first one will be, look if you have any single point of failure. Look if only one person has an access to somewhere. Look if the right person has access to the right thing. So it's that will be the first advice. You need to have a strong contract between you guys, between the shareholders. People needs to be able to act at a certain level, but on behalf of the other person if this person is unavailable. The accesses needs to be stored somewhere that can be found by anyone. It sounds very logic, but it was not our case. So us, we have one password, we have a management vault with all the biggest access. Then we have a vault with less security to all the tech team. Then we have vault for the marketing team. I am the marketing team, but what I mean is like you need to make sure that if Misha is not here, I'm not lost. I know what he's doing. He's taking care of all the ability of the company, but I know where is it. I know to do it myself. Even if I'm not here, he knows what I'm doing. He knows where are my contracts. He knows how to check them. He has all the contact. We know exactly what everyone is doing. That is very important. That obviously everyone has his task. That needs to be as well to be very clear. Who is doing what, obviously, and documented everything. Everything needs to be documented and stored. A lot of tools out there, so I don't need to give one, but that was the issue as well. Where are the things? How to find them? We had to spend hours on calls with Atlassian, with Jira. It's like, we are debated of this amount, but where it come from? Like, but the owner is Henri with his personal Gmail address. But why? Because I mean, all these kind of things. It's very important that everything is clear, everything is done at the same place. I mean, it depends on what we're speaking about, and to have a strong agreement between the shareholders, and to avoid all the single point of failure again. So yes, basically, if someone goes tomorrow, unfortunately, someone else needs to be able to do it straight away without looking everywhere to find the key of the door and all these kind of things.
Yeah, and a final question for you here today, Thomas, as well. Like, how would you like Henri to be remembered by people and moving forward, and how are you planning to keep his legacy alive?
Wow. Actually, everything that we said before about the how class he was, how happy he was to meet people, how he smiled, like, look, I'm sorry, but I want him to be reminded like that.
Yeah, there is on the painting. For those who are watching, there's a painting next to Thomas in his office.
Is like that, like he was until the last minute, he was happy and living the life. Yes, living the life. You need to live your life. You need to be happy, and he was living the life totally more than a lot of us actually. Not that happy, available for everyone, always that you can call him. He taught me to answer my phone every time. Like Henri, you could spend. It was hard to have a long conversation with him because he was always answering, to tell that he was not available, but always with everyone. That was Henri. I was not doing that, and I started to do that thanks to Henri. And he was doing that with everyone all the time, from 7 a.m. till midnight. As long as he was up, he was answering the phone. And his phone was ringing a lot. My God. So now I want him to be remembered as that, as a colorful person, as a joyful person, and a happy person.
Yeah, I would say as well that for those who are listening today, think about someone that is close to you in your life right now. Maybe give them a call and mention something nice to them because life is unpredictable. And I think the most beautiful thing about life is the people that you love and the relationships that you have.
Exactly, yes. Exactly. To reach out with everyone, that has been very important for us actually at that time. It was to ask help as well, to be able to ask for help, to take care of the people around us. That is very important because we have had the chance to experience that as well during this dark moment. So even in the darkest moment, there is some bright ones, and that is really important to say as well. It has been hard, but we have not been alone in this process. So, and they will recognize themselves, obviously. So, but I would like to thank all the people that helped us, obviously. But yes, Henri would have been proud about that, I guess, I hope. And we will make him proud for sure with the next steps.
I'm absolutely sure that Henri is proud looking at what you have done and what you accomplished afterwards. And,
I'm sure you will disagree with some part for sure. I still manage to disagree with him. I still speak with him every day, but I'm sure. I hope he will be mostly happy. I'm sure he will disagree with some part. If I want to finish with something, like I missed him a lot, and I think he's deeply missed by his friend, obviously his family, but as well by the whole industry. And his presence was taking a lot of place actually, but his absence is taking even more. And yes, that is something that I wanted to add about him. And yes.
Henri's memory lives on with the hundreds or thousands of people that he touched along this journey.
Of course, yes. He will be remembered for long, generation after generation.
Thomas, thank you so much for sharing this story with us here today. It's very sensitive and close to your heart, of course, but nonetheless, important story for the people that are close to Henri to hear, and those who didn't know him a little bit now at least. So thank you so much for this, Thomas.
Thank you very much, Pierre. Thank you very much for your time. Very appreciated.